10 years ago, he thinks that it just might benefit him again. What he forgets is that nobody takes him seriously anymore. He is the only comedian on the stage, and people just wait to hear him and hear what he's saying next. Even when he speaks and the sniffles that come in and the applause is not as loud as it used to be, you can tell that he looks totally confused because he's missing it. He is not only out of sync with music or his dance steps, he is out of sync with the good people of Ghana.
Out of sync with music and dance steps?
Yes, it's not just that. You see, people who don't have a good rhythm, usually they don't have a good balance either. And so when you see even the things that he chants out, you can tell that he's very inconsistent, appears very indecisive, totally confused, doesn't even know what he's speaking about. Have you heard him on any day speak to building a better economy, speak to building a better stable city, speak to improving the lot of the banking sector, speak to improving the lot of the unemployed, the many young people who follow these people through the length and breadth of this country? How have they benefited from this administration that has only come to benefit a few? And have you heard the list of the persons on the scholarship secretariat's list, for example?
But we're discussing it this morning.
Yes, think about it. My father will be telling me his grave, because I remember when my younger brother even wanted to go and apply for a Government of Ghana scholarship. He said no, and he wouldn't even sign the document. So for all the educations that we've gone through, we've had to work very hard. I had to secure a United Nations scholarship. So did my other sibling. The rest of them have gone for recently, my younger sister has gotten a scholarship. She went on her own. Even when we were in office, my brother, I couldn't secure a scholarship for her. She never even asked me because she knew that I'll tell her, with your name, I don't want you being on the list. Even when we lost elections in 2016, you remember in 2017, there was all this propaganda. Even my name was on the list. I've only driven past the scholarship secretariat. I've never entered that room before. I don't even know what they do there or how people get scholarships from there. You understand? I know there are many people who benefited from these scholarships, and for good reasons. There are many people who genuinely needed the scholarships and got them. But when you look at this list today, it shows you the deeply partisan environment in which we live. I remember when we were in office, if you recall, the same scholarship secretariat, when they came under scrutiny, we found out that even people who had gone on the scholarships under us came back and they were campaigning for Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, if you remember. And a lot of our people were very riled by that. You see, the only political party that cares for the future of this country is a National Democratic Congress. Make no mistake. It is only under the National Democratic Congress that anybody can walk into a scholarship secretariat, for example. Have you seen Zamahama's kids on any of those lists? His children were growing up and going to uni just around the time when he was in office. How come they're not on the list? Have you heard of any of his extended family, and he comes from a very large family, who are on that list? No. Today, what is it you see? The president's family members and aficionados, the vice president's in-laws and all of that, people who have already received so many government appointments. And yet they still need a free scholarship. Even that one, after they took the scholarship, what happened? They didn't even use it. And I'm told in the corridors of rumors that even some of those monies were paid directly to people. I'm told that some of the students received them what? In their accounts. When I got a United Nations scholarship, the money was paid directly to the institution. The only thing that came into my account was a stipend that I got every month for accommodation and living expenses and for health. I never saw the check. I knew the quantum, but I knew that it was paid directly to the institution that I was going to. My second scholarship was the same. The American government paid directly to the institution. I never saw the tuition fees. Even the tickets were procured for us. And I remember they were always economy tickets. Of course, you don't expect the government to pay for you to go to school and then upgrade your ticket to business class or anything. If you wanted an upgrade, that was your responsibility. And they'll pay for you in, and then the next ticket you see is when you are leaving. So in between, if you want to return home, that is your palaver. I had left my young son here for my last educational study. So, of course, at Christmas, I wanted to come because his birthday was also in December. So think about it. There are so many unscrupulous persons walking in the corridors of power. People with no credibility, people who don't love Ghana, people who really don't care. It is almost as if I have won an election I must benefit from the spoils of war. Take whatever is available. Look, 2 special prosecutors later, how have we fared on the annals or conversations about corruption? My brother, take Bas Brandon. That generated the most noise. How much was it? At the time, 1 million Ghana, so is it $1 million? It pales in comparison even to the lowest official corruption and the MPP. At the time, what did Mr. Mahama do? Our own Attorney General investigated that matter and came out with a report. And refunds were made. Remember the matter to do with the laptops and the company that supplied them. Same was done. A few weeks ago, I listened to Manasseh Azuri Awuni about how the JIDA report was made public even long before government reacted to it. It was already a public document. Those days, if you remember, they would go to Shiraj with all sorts of things. The Ford Navigator in particular was one of them. You know, people always go on about how Mr. Mahama said he has become a dead goat, and I hear our opponents still using this phrase even now to try and create a certain whatever. It was an idiomatic expression.
Okay.
The man had suffered 9 months of a very unfair election petition. He had gone through doom, so that was no fault of his. In any case, what has climate change got to do with an individual? And this was a country with no infrastructure for any independent power producers. Everything had to be found on virgin grounds. Even the level of the agreements we signed were the way they were because this was a huge risk. And today, if you look at it, some of the companies and what they were telling us at the time, they were telling the truth. People want to respect the sanctity of the agreements. People want to be sure that their bills will be paid. That energy sector levy, Mr. Mahama spoke to it yesterday, that it was the only advice he gave to Nana Akufo-Addo when they met, that be sure you don't touch the energy sector levy, because that fund was actually put up to pay for largely our energy sector bills.
Okay.
What did they do?
He told him
Specifically in a conversation they had
not to
touch it, because that one will come back and haunt them. He has been proven right and accurate.
So he is of the opinion that the current president having mortgaged it to take a loan.
In the end,
that was against the advice he gave him.
Absolutely. And the purpose for which that fund was set up, where is it today? The road fund is another one. Where is it today? The GET fund is another one. Where is it today? The heritage fund, the sinking fund. Why did we have that sinking fund? It was a revolving fund. And every time there was a proceeds from the Euro bond, it was put into it. It was supposed to be used to fund what? The homegrown solutions. Why did we have the heritage or fund, for example, the legacy fund? Oil proceeds, a certain percentage was being put into it. In fact, in the course of COVID, if you remember, government even borrowed money from there. The Ghana Infrastructure Fund, why was it set up? To accumulate money so that we could use that to develop what? Needed and critical infrastructure. Look, Senna, look at all the funds that were set up under Mr. Mahama, for example. They were all very purposeful. They had clear objectives. The minute Mr. Akufo-Addo came into office, what did they do? They brought in a finance minister who had no clue about anything except investment. You know, investment bankers are what we call people who like to gamble with other people's money. Sometimes they gamble and make huge profits, and they satisfy everybody. Client is happy, bank is happy, investment is happy. Other times they gamble. Remember the issue of Barron's Bank, for example? Took a huge gamble. It took America years after the stock exchange collapsed to fix traders like that who took unguarded risks. A lot of them went to prison. A lot of companies collapsed because of that.
Okay.
So when you have an investment banker in charge of your finances, know this, that his focus is on how to put in small money and make huge interests. But you have a budget also that has needs, huge requirements.
Are you suggesting our finance minister was gambling?
Oh, he's an investment banker. What was his business coming to manage our economy? In any case, how did he manage the economy? Where is the economy today? The economy he inherited, and you can check the World Bank report when we were leaving office, was positive to grow at 8% in 2017
and it did
by
grow.
the first quarter. And it did grow.
Yeah.
How did they use that growth? How did that growth feed into the lives of Ghanaians? How did all of us benefit from it? We ended up with what? The highest inflation in the history of this country. The increase on fuel yesterday is actually being recorded as the highest since independence, for example. How do you look at that in the ratio of people's incomes? Add transportation, add high rent. This is a government that told us they were going to be paying rent for what? First-time renters.
Yes.
First-time workers. Who has come here to testify to the fact that their rent has been paid? We were told that they were constructing affordable housing for people who needed it. Where are those houses? And yet they allow properties to rot and waste just because putting people into it will give credit to an administration that they try to demonize. But you see, God is not mocked. On every attempt they made to literally demonize the NDC has been vindicated. Where are we on the economy today? In fact, we have no economy even to talk about.
No economy.
The country is flat out broke. Completely broke. And yet we are still doling out huge sums of monies to friends and cronies. And passing on the debts to the good people, in fact, to future administrations and even future generations that are not yet born. Have you noticed that a lot of the debts that Mr. Kenneth Ofori-Atta left behind, he was actually promoting them to future payments? 2025.
They have all been pushed forward. In fact, they are currently paying no debts.
Yes. The question is why? Ask yourself why. Where are the dividends that are owed the pension bondholders? Look, we must start to interrogate our leaders very carefully. When you consider the example of this administration led by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, it tells you one thing. We never interrogated the things they were saying. We never asked them, okay, so these ones have poorly managed the economy. What are you going to do differently? Oh, so the dollar that was 6 cedis or 3 cedis, in fact, 4 cedis when we're leaving office. Today is 14 cedis. We didn't ask them how they were going to do it. When they told us they were going to make Ghana the cleanest city, and I'm happy Mr. Mahama has proposed that they would actually make the district assemblies responsible for sanitation. I think that is very important. I think one of the areas that we are suffering from is that so far you can't tell where we are on sanitation. Nana Akufo-Addo's promise to make Ghana the cleanest city has definitely failed. But the same way he promised to put his life on the line to fight Galamsey, then we found out that they themselves were huge aficionados promoting Galamsey. Indeed, when I heard the vice president tell us that when he comes into office, they will no longer destroy excavators. Really? Was he sleeping when those excavators were being destroyed? Why? He had left, he wasn't paying attention. He wasn't part of the administration. He didn't hear the stories.
He said he was a mate.
Oh, when the vehicles break down in the course of the journey, who comes to open the engine? Is it not the mate? Is it not the mate? When the tires go flat and you're on the road, who comes to help you fix it? Is it not the mate? Look, if a driver is bad, the mate is even worse.
If a driver is bad,
the mate is worse.
But the mate has not. You've not seen the mate driving.
A good driver will always pick a mate who is very, very competent.
A good driver will pick a competent
mate. So when you see
you have a good driver and a terrible mate.
No. In fact, it's very rare because you see when the transport owner calls you and makes you his driver, he gives you the car and you are responsible. Don't forget that here we make sales. So if you come cry in the morning and tell him that the vehicle is spoiled, 3 days later he will sack you. Even for private people. If you're a driver who spoils his car all the time, you won't last. How much less the mate who is following you as his boss? So if the driver is driver Banza, how would I see the mate as better? Indeed, whenever a driver has sacked his main driver car and gone to take the driver, what happens? The next day he goes and bumps it. Because most of the driver mates don't have licenses. So these ones are a clear example of a duo that has failed abysmally on all the things they promised the good people of Ghana. Even food, basic food cry, we are starving. Ghanaians are hungry.
So there's an insistence on the fact that it is the duo.
Oh.
It cannot
perfect.
be said that the Nekufado failed and Dr. Baumia cannot.
Dr. Baumia will always be a poodle to Akufo-Addo and the whole family cabal that they have.
Even after they've left office?
Wherever. Even if he loses Poto, as he is going to do, he will always be indebted to them. Why?
Even after he loses?
Oh, yes. Completely. Why? He was sitting at the Bank of Ghana as a deputy governor, not governor safe. Who knows? Where would he have been today? Maybe you and I would never even have heard of him. He will forever be indebted to the person who picked him and gave him to Akufo-Addo. And how Akufo-Addo managed to convince. He told us that was his godfather. Have you forgotten? And his mentor. How can you be different from your mentor? How can you even be, proclaimed to be better than your mentor? Me, if you tell me that you are working for me, you are my assistant, and I don't see you taking instructions from me or trying to help me with my work, you will be there. But the point is that what will I be using you for? Who needs an assistant who doesn't support them in any way, who doesn't help them? I work for Mr. Mahama. I tell people every day, I'm related to Mr. Mahama. We've disclosed that many times enough. But I don't get any treatment that is like, you know what I mean? I'm expected to deliver on what I've promised to do. If I want to do anything, I must seek clearance from Mr. Mahama. I must seek his opinion. Sometimes even on things that I want to put out, I would ask him, what do you think? Do you agree with this? Do you like it this way? Do you want it to be done this way? You must. That is how a good worker reports to a good leader. You are even accountable to that leader. And you must be transparent. Everything. In fact, when I'm going to do something, you'll be the first I'll go to. Oh, this morning I'm trying to do this. What do you think? If it's good, you tell you. If it's bad, you tell you. Even when it's busy, you can walk in. Oh, this is naturally. You see, you are only as good as the person you work for. If your boss doesn't give you the opportunity to prove yourself, I have always said it, that as an individual, I'm very blessed with the bosses that I've had over the years. If you ask me, Joyce, to serve you tea, I'll serve it very well. Whenever you could invite me here. If I can't make it, I tell you. If I will come, I'll come and I'll be on time. You understand? I've made a commitment. That is Mr. Mahama for you. Somebody you can trust. Someone who is... Today, when you ask every Ghanaian, even MP people, they tell you, oh, your boss was too honest. Oh, your boss was very, very honest. Oh, your boss was too transparent.
He was too honest, too transparent.
Because if you ask Mr. Mahama today what is going to happen with Dumso, he will tell you about the process to secure Mary, the process to secure car power. Even when they were going to construct the platform at Tema, looking for the space, trying to put it together, he tried to tell us all of that. But all Ghanaians wanted to hear was that, when will the power outages stop? So for as long as we woke up in the morning and the lights went off again, everybody blamed Mr. Mahama. He took too much responsibility.
He took too much responsibility?
Way too much.
Why? He was the one in charge. He was the leader.
He could have led other people. Even other people could have become the faces even of marketing Dumso. But you see, that's what I'm telling you. Mr. Mahama cares about what happens. He loves to see people flourish. He enjoys people to come out of a job and say, oh, I did a great job. All of us have learned a lot about campaigning because of how Mr. Mahama does it.
Okay.
I tell people all the time that I was never a very good grassroots campaigner until I joined that campaign in 2014. Okay. And since then, I've learned that there's a way you touch people, the way you touch lives. Look, I received a phone call from a very eminent chief who was very against the NDC, needing medical attention urgently. Sometimes the private thing you ask yourself, but why is he calling us? We are in opposition. Those in power have all the amenities to help you. What it tells you is that the person has tried very hard to access their former friends, if I can put it that way.
It's not working out.
Exactly. Look, Mr. Mahama will wake up in the morning and tell me, oh, I have this hole in heart child. I got a text message. Can you go and check up on it? Find out what has gone on. Have they received the support? Or you pick up a phone and call someone. Can you reach out and try and pay for this? And these bills, some of them are not for children. You know what cost of medical interventions are here for some surgeries, for some type of interventions. And I listened to Professor Frimpong a few days ago. That cardio center, like all our other health facilities, needs serious interventions. It needs an injection of money, additional infrastructure. What we have in large numbers is great expertise. Who handpicked Professor Frimpong Boateng and brought him to Ghana? It was former President Jerry John Rawlings. Most of the support the Cardiothoracic Center has received over the years has been from the NDC, from Professor Mills, from John Mahama. If you go there today and you ask, they will tell you, and they will pay glowing tribute to Mr. Mahama, to his family, for the contributions they continue to make to that center, even as a private citizen.
We have to take a break. When we come back, we'll take a round because I understand that you said you were meeting one of the interest groups today. You've met many. So from listening to you, it looks like you'll be hearing a lot in terms of the difficulties that people have been going through. I still have in studio lawyer Joyce Bawa Mogtari. She's special aid spokesperson for former President John Dramani Mahama. We'll be right back.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Feel every taste, it never spread. Top chocolate spread. Every day, it's our drink. Top choco instant mix. It's 3-in-1 and tasty too. Made just for you and I. Top chocolate, chocolate.
Enjoy Top Choco Chocolate Spread and 3-in-1 instant mixed chocolate drink anytime, any day. This advert is FDA approved.
Top Choco.
Esa Brown Herbal Center na nyuma power ye ewo my Ghana wunti se we on bia se yo boni dia ni yes atemfo pa aye adwuma so no eno nti tractor drivers ne taxi drivers so owo de omo ben no ebo ne e kire yare sa Brown Herbal Center edema se ye no mpem yade
na no madamfo efie menu nya ankwanhia no ehọ na ye de no koye na ne nkasa mu ebuse pin na okoye no yankyere na yankyere wode ahaban na eto so
wo infide abrane a wode kire bebia mfomso no wo na wode ahaban eyisa nkonya no na de enije ni asomdja befie
fonse mama ya de dimbra ni beje yaresa ewo Brown Herbal Center enkran ye wala shebi community 16 road ye be Bows City frewo 0244 988 004 atemfo pa nyare wanyina ebejone ba.
Do you know what listeners like about our station? It's everything.
I like everything.